Good morning, Year 6. Happy Friday. I hope you're all well. So, who can remember how many days there are in April? Try and remember back to the poem that we did earlier in the week. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except for February. It's the one that has only 28 and 29 in a leap year. So with that in mind, goodbye, April. It is May. So write the date down, 01.05.2020. Today we're going to be converting metric measures for maths. You'll remember yesterday we looked at metric measures for length. So today we're focusing on maths. Today, a pencil, paper, timer, and Kahoot. You're going to open a new tab and you're going to be logging into Kahoot shortly. And you'll also need your Purple Mash login details. And as usual, you'll need a positive attitude to learning. Let's get started. So quick recap, what have we been learning this week? Pause the video here and turn to somebody in your household and tell them all the things that we've learnt this week in our maths lessons. Super. Did you remember them all? We've been learning intervals of time. We've looked at how to convert time from 12-hour format to 24-hour format. We've been reading timetables and converting metric units for length. For today's lesson, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Usually, I give you a starter, a math starter, arithmetic starter. But for today, I thought it would be a good idea, as it's Friday, the end of the week, to go over what we've covered this week. So instead, I've set you a task. To log into Kahoot. And when you get to Kahoot, I have set you a quiz. That quiz is all to do with intervals of time. Having had some feedback and had a look at your scores, I can see that it's something that some of you found a bit tricky. It's just a lot of facts to remember, isn't it? So the task today on Kahoot is going over intervals of time. So I'd like you now to pause this video, open up a new tab and type in kahoot.it, www.kahoot.it. The pin is 0894 4441. 0894 4441. You should use your initials as your nickname. Then once you've completed the quiz, return back to complete the rest of our lesson. So welcome back. Hope you had fun. Hope you did really well, tried your best. So today we're looking at maths. But what is the meaning of maths? Well, in the context of maths, that is. Maths refers to the weight. So today, when we're talking about maths, we're talking about weight. Now, maths has many, many different meanings. And I actually encourage you to grab a dictionary and look at all the different meanings for maths, because there's more than one. But for today, we're talking about it in the context of weight. So, to begin, I'd like you to place these units of metric measure in the correct area of the chart. You'll see we've got length, mass, capacity and volume. So if you were to measure how long something is, would you measure it in litres? Would you measure it in kilograms? Would you measure it in metres? I'd like you to pause the video and then write down all the units of metric measure in the correct area. We'll go through the answers. Length would be measured in millimetres, centimetres, metres and kilometres. Well done if you got those. Mass would be measured with grams, kilograms and tonnes in metric measure. So well done. Capacity and volume is measured in millilitres and litres. Now, as I said, today we're going to be focusing on weight. So today we're going to be we have to try and remember these facts, that 1 ton is equal to 100 kilograms. 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams, and 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. Now, you remember yesterday I told you that meter was like the king in terms of what we were doing yesterday. Everything revolved around the meter. Now, for today, when we're talking about our weight, gram is what everything else evolves around. So, if we have 1 gram, then we know that a milligram is 1,000th of a gram. Because yesterday we learned that milli means 1,000th of. Okay, so milligram is 1,000th of a gram. A kilogram, we know that kilo means 1,000 times bigger. So a kilo is 1,000 times bigger than a gram. And we've got a new one here today. We've got a ton. So a ton is new to us, but a ton is 1,000 times greater than a kilogram. So if we were going from a gram to a ton, we'd have to times that gram by 1,000 and then times it by 1,000 again. Okay? So we'd end up with 1 million. 1 million grams make a ton. Now, give the most appropriate unit of measure for each of these objects. The mass of an apple. If I said to you, if you brought me an apple and I said, "Ooh, how much does that apple weigh?" And you replied, "Miss, it's 24 litres." I'd probably say, "Huh? 24 litres? How can I measure an apple in litres?" What should you have said? What unit of measure would you use to measure the mass of an apple? You would have said the answer in grams. Now, I'd like you to have a go, look through all the different examples shown on screen and think, what would we use to measure each of these? Pause the video whilst you write those down. Super. So you would have said the amount of water held in a bath is measured in litres. The mass of a dog, kilograms. Distance of a marathon run, kilometres. The length of a fingernail, millimetres. And the volume of a drink in a can, millilitres. I'd like you to have a go at putting these units of measure in order from smallest to largest. So we've got kilogram, gram, ton, and milligram. Pause the video here and put those in order from smallest to largest. Super, so you should have had 1 milligram, 2 gram, 3 kilogram, and 4 is a ton, the largest one there. Now, yesterday I set you a task similar to this, but it was challenge 1, so it was only for some of you, whereas today I'd like everyone to complete this. You're going to be converting our units of measure from kilograms to grams and back again. So we'll do the first one together. We need to convert 819 grams into kilograms. Are we going to look at the red arrow or the blue arrow? Excellent, we're looking at the blue arrow because we're dividing by 1,000. So 819 divided by 1,000. Now we know with whole numbers there's an imaginary decimal after our number. 819 has a decimal after it, but we just don't need to write it because it's a whole number. There's only zeros after it. But if we did put the decimal there, we'd need to then move our number 3 places to the right of that decimal. So 819 would become 0.819 kilograms. Okay, the unit of measure at the end refers to how much there is before the decimal. So there are 0 kilograms, 819 grams. Okay, so it's 0.819 kilograms. We know we need 1,000 grams in order to make a kilogram. So as long as our number is less than 1,000, we know we should always have a 0 before the decimal. Pause the video here and complete the chart in your books. Okay, we'll go through the answers. How well did you do? If any of those you found tricky, maybe go back, replay the video, replay that part of the video, maybe listen a bit more to what I've said and see if that will help you. So I was feeling a bit hungry and I thought I'd make some cookies. I've made this recipe before, but I couldn't remember how to make it. So I went on the internet and I found this recipe and I was so happy. Yum. Until I looked at the recipe. 0.15 kilograms of butter. Who measures butter in kilograms? 80,000 milligrams of brown sugar. But this is the one that really got me. 0.000000225 tons of plain flour. Who measures plain flour in tons? Who uses tons in the kitchen? Nobody. Nobody does. That's who. So this is, my head just started to hurt. I need your help. I need your help to convert each of these units of measure, these ridiculous units of measure, into grams. Only the ones shown in red. The ones written in black, they're just fine. They're perfect. I can use those. But the ones written in red, I need your help. So pause the video and can you convert each of these units of measure into grams? Thank you so much. Right now, this is how I feel. But with your help, I know I'm going to feel much better in a moment because you would have given me the correct or an ingredients list that I can actually work with. Now, that's better. This is what an ingredients list should look like. 150 grams of butter. Now there's a measurement that my scale will recognise. 80 grams of brown sugar, 80 grams of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 large egg, 225 grams of plain flour, half a teaspoon of bicarbonate soda, quarter of a teaspoon of salt, and 200 grams of finely chopped dates. Much better. Thank you. If you would like to try this recipe, you can log in to or go over to bbcgoodfood.com, have a look up vintage chocolate chip cookies, and you also can make this recipe. I have made this before. I used dates and I actually got rid of where it says 80 grams of granulated sugar. I didn't use that and it was delicious. Instead, I chopped up the dates instead of chocolate chip and it was perfect. So I'd recommend it maybe a bit later on, but with an adult to help you. So I look forward to that and I hope you do too. So to finish off our video, to finish off our lesson for today, I'm setting you a little bit more of a fun task, which is to create a game of Snap. So looking at the different units of measure, I want you to think which units of measure match up, which amounts match up, whether it's 225 grams, how would you match that up? You would match that up in kilograms, for example. You would write 225 grams as 0.225 kilograms. I'd like you to write down different amounts on pieces of paper and then write down an amount that is equivalent but using a different unit of measure. The papers don't need to be too big, they can be quite small. And then I'd like you to have a go at playing a game of Snap. So if you've played Snap before, you won't need to hear much more explanation, but you'll just need to find somebody to play with you, and then you put down a card, they put down a card, and if the two cards are the same amount but written with different units of measure, you say Snap. And whoever says Snap gets to take the cards that are all there at the time. And the objective is for the person, it's the person with the most cards wins. Okay, so that's the objective. If you have the most cards, you have won. So if you write down 780 grams, you would need to write on another card 0.780 kilograms. Okay, so that when you're playing your game, those two would match up. And then what I would advise you to do is, once you've written lots and lots of different cards down that match in different units of measure, then make sure you've matched them up so you know you've got them in pairs. And then I just want you to shuffle them, share them equally between you and your opponent, and then you will put down one card, your opponent will put down a card on top, and if they are equivalent units of measure, equivalent amounts, then you say snap. If not, then you keep playing. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So you would have received an email, and if you didn't, this can also be found on the Grange Primary School website under Online Learning Year 6, Friday. So I'd like you to complete this task. We've just done 5 and 6 together, but you can do there's some other levels, I suppose, in there, which you might want to have a go at. You don't need to complete a whole sheet, okay? You don't need to do a whole worksheet. You just need to choose 3 or 4 boxes and have a go at converting them from grams to kilograms or kilograms to grams. Okay, you don't need to do the whole sheet. Once you finish that and you've emailed us a picture of your lovely work, you can log into your Purple Mash, where I've assigned 3 quizzes for you, 3 little tasks for you. One is on units of measurement, the other is on converting units, and the last one is on prefixes in units of measurement. So I'd like you to log in and complete those. You need to email us your work at yr6@grange.harrow.sch.uk. All done. Hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Take care, stay safe. Bye.